here we are again. Last week we talked about, well, last year, we talked about being able to start with blank pages. And I'm just curious how your blank pages are going. Are they getting filled? What are they getting filled with? Is it, Susan, are you still doing your grateful, something you're grateful for every day?
They're grateful, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I bought a couple notebooks, added up how many pages, and it was a pack of 3 or something, and I had to get 2 packages to have 365 days of blank pages. And I said to Mike yesterday, which was the 4th, that I bought these, and wouldn't this be great? Every night, we might watch Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, whatever our evening is or whatnot. Wouldn't it be great to put something down on a blank page? Yeah, that was the 4th. But you know what, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna put those books right by, think about something I did or redid and try and fill it up. We've all got something we do every day that is good. And if that seems to be too much, like last year, maybe some of us have picked a word. Again, I left our words up this week and they'll be down, but I kind of liked having that word. And I was also thinking maybe it's not a word, maybe it's a phrase. Is there a phrase that's going to get you through? We were talking in Sunday school about, the kids are funny because some of them are at the age where, oh, I can't stand this person in my class and I don't like this person. And we're talking about, well, we don't always have to like what somebody does, but we should still love them as a person, as a human being. So that's slowly getting through. But as I was preparing for today's service on Epiphany, I found a short article written by Reverend Jane Siebert, who is one of our denomination ministers, and it was on one of our online resources in the New Christian Bible Study from spiritualquesters.org, and it's basically, if you remember, Our Daily Bread was a publication we used to have, and it had little devotionals and things like that in it. And I came across, she had written something completely about Epiphany, and it really struck me. So I wanted to share that. And she begins by defining the word epiphany. And she used Wikipedia, defining it as the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles represented by the Magi. And she goes on to say that we also speak of the Epiphany as the church season when God's light is revealed in the world, manifested. We have epiphanies all the time. Well, probably. Something just comes to us, we have a revelation, we might have some insight on something, and it's that aha moment. And she said as she was reflecting on the nativity scene with all these people, with Mary and Joseph and the baby and the angels, the shepherds, the wise men, at how peaceful it was in an unusual setting. She said the stable is often depicted full of light and warmth, with a star or an angel mounted up on top, like Mary and Joseph holding on to the baby Jesus. And around the stable are a group of disparate men in rich robes, carrying gifts, leading their camels, while others are in sandals. This is when we bring the stories from Matthew and Luke together, in the scene and in our mind. And what prompted Reverend Janie to write this was that she had visited the Holy Land with a group of Swedenborgians, and they had time divided up and spent with several Palestinian Christian families. They stayed in their homes. And they lived in a town called Beit Sahar, which means Field of the Shepherds. And it's right outside Bethlehem, and the tradition says that that's where the angel came to the shepherds. They were Palestinian shepherds, and they became Christians. And they refer with pride to the fact that they were some of the first Christians. Now the Magi, or the kings, or the wise men, as they are called, came from the east. And in Matthew, we know that they had a long journey trying to follow the star, which really may have taken them quite some time to arrive at Jerusalem and ask Herod where the child was. The child that was called the King of the Jews. The importance of these men of the East as part of the scene is sometimes overlooked, since we concentrate on their gifts. But their presence is important as well. Wikipedia calls these three distinguished foreigners serving a critical role in Christian theology, as their worship of Christ represents the physical manifestation of God to the Gentiles, fulfilling the prophecies. They were foreigners. They weren't Jewish, but from the East, probably Arabic. And they recognized Jesus as the Messiah, and they worshiped him. Reverend Jane goes on to say that taking this all together and picking up on our image of the Nativity, we have Mary and Joseph as Israelite Jews, the shepherds from the local Palestinian area, and the Magi from the Arabic region. Think of all that's going on in the Middle East. What was going on then is going on now. And if we could just show the image of these three very different groups of people and their backgrounds, their different religious traditions, huddled together to find and worship Jesus. It was peaceful. And they all brought their gifts for the good of humankind. Now, over 2,000 years ago, like I said, the people were fighting. They weren't getting along. And there seemed to be no end in sight. And even today, there are events that may cause us to think that there is no hope. But when we realize that people of different faiths, beliefs, and backgrounds can come together for good, that